Thank you.
And we are live.
So horse, of course.
All right. What is going on? Welcome to Wrecker RC. We got Adventure RC in the house. Eric Warren. Just want to say what's up. Right? What is going on? All right, so I'm going to take a quick hot second, mute myself on one side, and make sure we got everything rolling. And oh man, Eric, it's been way too long, man.
It's been a little while.
What is that? The Recon?
Yes, sir. Recon G6 down at Blue Rocks Campground in Pennsylvania. We met.
Yeah, that was a great day. That was a great whole great event, man. So what have you been getting into since then? It's been way too long, brother.
Well, COVID has kind of derailed everything, which is terrible. But I've been able to hit a couple events. That was I think the second weekend in 5 weeks that I was able to attend. After that, it was an event at my own shop in Massachusetts. And then 2 weekends after that was Shred the Ledge in New Hampshire. So June, July, August was really, really good. But after that, it's not been a lot of traveling going on, not a lot of events going on. There were plans to go to Axial, to either Badlands or Axial Fest out in Cali, and that didn't happen. So, but I was happy to be in Pennsylvania that weekend. That weekend was amazing.
So was it pure luck that you happened to be by there? Because you were only there for a hot minute, brother. And I was like, come trail, come do stuff.
Yeah. Well, my boss came to me on 2 Tuesdays previous and said, "Hey, Axial Fest is happening this weekend. Are you going?" And I was like, that was Badlands, Axial Fest Badlands.
Yeah.
And I was like, that looks like a cool time, but honestly, Parker is going to be in Pennsylvania, so I'd rather go to PA if that's okay with you. He says, no problem. So we drove down Friday morning, early Friday morning, spent Friday night, Saturday night, and came back on Sunday. So that was a good trip. It was a quick trip. The boss paid for a hotel, so thank you, Todd. I appreciate that. And hopefully we can do it again next year. I think that'll be awesome.
I'll tell you what, having a hotel or having some sort of air conditioning on that weekend is clutch.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So was your better half bribed by air conditioning to come down, or what?
That definitely made it easier. The 2 weekends later, I was in New Hampshire at Shred the Ledge, and that is primitive camping at its finest. And you wheeled, let's see, I went up early Friday morning, stayed Friday night, stayed Saturday night. Total time in the woods, it's kind of like a Recon G6. It's kind of like an enduro event if you've not been to Shred the Ledge.
Yeah, I haven't.
Trevor Rushford runs that, and it's 12 hours in the woods. You start at 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and this year he was done by. It's longer than that. It's almost 24 hours in the woods. The trails closed, I think, at 1 o'clock on Sunday morning. So you had an opportunity to run, what's that, 14, 12, yeah, so like 18 hours in the woods. Typically you're running 2 courses, so he's got 2 courses set up. So you're running the first course with the sun shining, and usually you come home back to camp, charge batteries, put a little food in you, maybe take a nap, and then you're back out in the woods. And my first year was the year before. It was 7 hours in the daylight and 5 hours at night in total darkness in the woods of New Hampshire. And it was pitch black, a little bit of rain. The temperature was perfect. There wasn't a lot of bugs. This year was pretty much the same thing, although I had some mechanical issues this year with a servo that was 2 years old. It was time for it to go, and I was ill prepared, but still had a great time in the woods walking around with guys. That's more what it is all about.
Raw 500. Excuse me.
Yes.
What?
No, not at all. it's so Trevor passes out a scorecard,
Right.
and if you want to judge yourself, you can judge yourself. There's usually 500 gates that are set up, and he hands you the scorecard and lets you go about your business. And at the end of the event, you pass in your scorecard. So it's very.
Yep. And there's the delay that we were expecting.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yep. You literally you're just holding yourself with the delay. And it was awesome. So yeah, and it does sound like a very Parker inspired style event, which is, I mean, it's kind of cool. It's really cool having multiple events, and although hopefully in not this year coming up, but maybe next year, I'll be able to compete in the 6-hour enduro. I've got a couple of plans. I have to get something fixed before I can do that long of a walk. And I'm sure you saw since we had met up there, just for full disclosure, you saw me limping, and I know you did, because that was hurting that weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of a sudden we'll be good. Hey, there's Stickies. What's going on, brother?
Hey.
Good evening. So tell us a little bit about your hobby shop, man. I've heard you mention it a couple of times. From what I understand, it's exactly what you would envision when you talk about an LHS, local hobby shop, for those guys who don't know.
Yeah, your local hobby shop is some may be struggling right now, and I'm a fond believer of supporting that local hobby shop if you can. Working in the hobby shop makes it a little easier to preach about buying local, because it affects my paycheck and what I can do at home. But a lot of folks shop on the internet. But I work for RC Excitement in Fitchburg, Mass. We are the largest shop in the Northeast, as far as square footage, as far as tracks, as far as acreage. We've got about 4.5 acres of property. Our biggest draw, we're race driven. So our biggest draw, we've got a 5,000 square foot indoor off-road clay dirt track that brings in racers from all over the Northeast, all this way as far out as Ohio. Guys will travel in to race their cars, their race cars, with us a couple of times a year. This year's again been a little off because of COVID. But probably about 6 or 7 years ago, they started a rock crawling course outside on some of the property, and that has recently expanded. Well, over the last probably 2 years, has expanded to almost 2,500 feet of trail.
Whoa! So that's yeah. You can get some gnarly lines on that. I've seen some pictures.
Yeah, we're real lucky because the shop is located right next to the Nashua River. Okay. And so we've got a lot of river rock. We've got a lot of sand and silt that we can play in. And it's multiple different levels, which is good. There's a lot of the trees have been taken out, but we do have enough trees that we can, build some natural trails. But rock is, a lot of our competition courses are all built on rock. We get rock anywhere from the size of baseballs to, size of large watermelons and even bigger. So we find a couple of big rocks and then we build around it and set up a couple of courses. We've got a 3-level indoor rock crawling course inside. We've got about a 3,000 square foot indoor carpet track that we use for rentals. We also use it for indoor oval track racing on carpet right now. So that was a big draw. Outside, we've got an outdoor dirt track and we've got an outdoor bash track. So anybody that's got big cars, anything over 10th scale has to go play outside. But we have, if you've got an X-Max or a Notorious or a Creighton, you want to race outside, we've actually got a racetrack outside that you can play with too.
Dude, that's awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
I'm literally envisioning this because the LHS that I am. So let me cut back for 10 seconds. You mentioned that some local hobby shops are doing very well, and some are taking some risks at this time with the downed economy where they had some capital invested, but some also other ones are hurting. Well, our local hobby shop, its name was Hobby Hanger. I don't want to say they closed, but they were actually bought out by another local hobby shop, like truly a family owned business, just like you who you work for, Eric. And they have a giant rock crawler course, which you've seen a lot of a lot of you guys have seen some of my videos coming from. They've got an 8th scale outdoor or indoor. They race 8th scale gas and electric indoor, and they're also making a 5th scale outdoor track, and they're putting in a drag strip too, because I mean, and it's paved too, like it's paved, it's done. It's a matter of just getting some equipment and some timing and getting some races organized. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm really loving to watch is how the LHSs are seeing the market and able to capitalize.
Right.
So, like from what you see, is your I mean, clearly your specialty is definitely crawlers, right, and scalers. But
you see
a lot of the basher stuff too.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we cater to race guys, we cater to bashers and crawlers. So those 3 categories are our biggest categories.
Cool.
I would say that they're pretty even across the board as far as percentage of sales. I would say they're real close. This year, with not able to have races and not being able to host races or have our regular club days, because we race every Thursday night, every Friday night, and every Sunday afternoon for basic club racing. If we weren't early on, we weren't able to have those club races. So our racers weren't there. They were running on virtual racetracks. And so that was kind of cool to see that, where they're able to run on our racetrack, an old racetrack that we had at one time, virtually. So the guys would still get together and race, which was kind of cool. But our crawlers and our bashers, because it allowed general public, so to speak, not the hobbyists that's been in it for a while, but new folks, allowed them to purchase something, go outside, play, and have a good time. So we saw a lot of dads with kids that were in that 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old range that are coming into the shop, and the guy's like, I had RC cars when I was young, I'm not working, I got time at home with my kids, and I want to play again. So they're buying bash cars, they're buying Tamiya kits, because that's what they had. They grew up with a frog, they wanted to buy a frog for the kid. So it was nice to be able to do that. And then rock crawling's the same way. A lot of the trail trucks were able to, you can get out in the woods and spend 4, 5, 6 hours out in the woods, and it takes you away from that reality of what's going on. And people had a lot of extra time. People had an extra $600 in their check if they were unemployed and were collecting unemployment. They got a $1,200 stimulus check. So yeah, we saw a lot of people that were looking to get away from reality. And it was very, very good to us. We opened up our outdoor rock crawling probably in June to allow people to kind of get June, July, to allow people to kind of gather and get together in the parking lot. Typically on our rock crawling competitions, we've been averaging about 60, 65 drivers, 60, 65 trucks. Nice. So it's pretty nice. It's can be a tough event, because you're judging everybody, and we pay for our judges. So it's myself, Ryan, who usually helps us out. He's our repair guy. James is usually outside with us judging. And then I've got like 2 or 3 that are really, really good friends of ours, really close friends that are rock crawlers, and they volunteer and they want to help, and they want to help judge. So we run with about 6 judges over 3 different courses. Okay. And so it can be an all-day affair. But we set up a gate system. We run 10 or 12, maybe 15 gates per course. So we run a class 1, a class 2, and a class 3 course. We don't follow anybody's rules but our own. And so it allows us to invite people into the hobby. So if they were new and they bought a truck in March or April, and we were able to get them back into the shop for a competition, so to speak, we only care about tire size. So it includes everybody. We don't care as far as the rules go. If you have portals or you had dig or you have 4-wheel steer, or if you're running a brushless motor or a cage, or if you got bumpers or anything like that, we just want you to come and have a good time. And so we run our courses. We run our courses, and with the amount of space that we have, we've got plenty of places for people to play. So you might be in line to run the competition, and it might be 3 hours or 4 hours before you get your run in. But in those 3 or 4 hours, you still have the opportunity to play for basically the entire day on the property, which is really cool.
That's awesome. By the way, Justin had said he's ordering sandwiches. We got to make sure we provide him our Uber, because it's all about that bacon, guys. It's all about that bacon.
It's gonna be a long trip to get here.
Yeah, it will be. He's gonna have to FedEx that. Pretty hardcore. But yeah, hey, we got Operation 11 Charlie in the house. RC next Tuesday. Justin, as we had mentioned, Sticky's, like we said, Tinia, and my buddy Jeff is in here as well. He's done some of the competitions out of VA Scalar. They happen to we do the Sorka rules, but I also really appreciate. I would put them toward like almost like a scale trial rules, where the only thing you're required to have is the tire size and like a gas tank, a fire extinguisher, and a med kit.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean,
yeah, we run strictly by tire size. So anything less than 419 is class 1. Anything over 42 is class 2. And then anything over 475 would be class 3. Yeah. And other than that, we run gates. I make a spring load. I don't have any handy on me, but I make a spring loaded gate that we either spike in the ground or
Motorama.
Very similar to some Motorama. Yeah, very similar to those. And we seem to like those because they're really easy to use. They're really easy to identify, and they seem to work out really, really well. So we started at 0 point. Before, we were all about time. So 3 years ago, we were all about time. How fast does it take you to get from point A to point B? And we would set up a course with ropes. And if you touched a rope, you got time added. If you reversed, you got time added. If you rolled over, you got time added. Same thing with hand to God. Yeah. So it was all about basically a drag race. And that's what it turned into. I could have guys running 100, 150 foot course, and we're running it in 2 minutes, 2.5, 3 minutes from one end to the other. So I'm like, we need to slow this down, because, you just paid, your class fees to run a truck. You stood in line for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to run your class, and you were on course for 3-5 minutes maybe. So we decided to go with gate systems last summer, and it worked really, really well. So this past summer we did the same thing, and we'll continue. So, we still lay out a course with rope. If you touch a boundary, you get points added. If you touch a gate, you get points added. If you winch, we don't allow bungee cords because they're not very scale. I know that doesn't make everybody happy, but it seems to work out all right. But if you use a regular winch, you get points added. If you get reverse, you get points added. We do keep time from point A to point B as a tiebreaker. So if I've got two guys that end up with 25 points, I can figure out which one did it faster, and that guy's the winner. So
it's like a modified
work out really, really well. It's a modified Sorka, yeah.
Yeah, because that's like not Sorka Light. It's not Sorka, but it's like a modified where it seems like any driver that is just wants to get into the hobby, new or old, can come in and take care of business.
Absolutely, and it's a huge family. We'll have we've had as many as 125 drivers at a competition, and even on a cold, nasty, rainy day, we still might get 35 or 40 people there, which is awesome.
That is awesome.
Living in the Northeast, there's plenty of opportunity to just grab your truck and go walk outside and go trailing. So to have them come to the shop is great. It's mind blowing at times, because it's something like, they pay us to use our courses, and they come and they pay a $15 or $20 fee to use the course for the day. But it's more about the camaraderie and the brotherhood of everybody being together. That's the most important part. Yep.
A friend of ours, I say a friend of ours, a friend of our channel, Wrecker RC. He's in the process of, he's actually doing his own. He's doing a reboot. called Homestead RC. He's been hosting a camel trophy, which he's called the Camel Toe events, which is a series of events. It includes a 200 and some gates. Now, a lot of times the gates are close together, but at the same time, I really like that because I'm able to follow the trail and not get lost.
Right.
Because there's been a few times, the only reason I'm able to follow Parker's trails is because he's got rope. And he's got, exactly. He's like, hey, have fun. And don't go off trails. Don't die. We like you. Hey, here's a creek bed. Let's go.
Those blue rock creek beds are awesome.
Dude, we are lucky here in Northern Virginia because we have a similar creek bed system coming into from Bull Run, like Manassas. It's that creek that everybody's heard about in history class. Like, and we got a great system and feeding into the Occoquan Trail. So we are blessed to have that. And when it comes down to it, it actually very similar to that creek system that Blue Rocks has. So that's an advantage. I can go there and practice, know what my truck's going to do. What I'm not a fan of is the extra mile walk in that hill. I might have used that rope a couple of times, and it hurt. It hurt getting up that hill. Yeah, but it's a great time. So, hey, if you're ever in the area, please come on out and hit us up. So
I'm hoping 2021 allows me to be out and about a little bit more.
I hope so, man. Yeah. You know what would be really cool is doing like an ambassadorship of clearly from your own hobby shop, but also the Adventure RC trucks, and hitting the big the LHSs up and down, making a plan. Hey, let's go down to Florida. And then that way, you can kind of hit some in Virginia, some here, some there. So, let's kind of switch into that gear. Like, what's the mission of Adventure RC trucks?
So, it all started probably about a year and a half ago. And the idea in my head was to create an image that, for me, would be an image that could be put on a trail marker somewhere and maybe mark a trail. So we've got one particular spot here in Massachusetts, a state park, that they do not allow us to come in and play with our toy trucks. So it's the only.
Is it one of those situations where they're going to find out no matter what you do, or is it kind of like don't ask, don't tell? Or is that information that is classified?
I wouldn't say it's classified, but the park rangers there have been instructed by the head ranger of that particular park to basically not allow anybody with any RC cars whatsoever in that particular area. So it's a small park. It does have a lot of visitors, a lot of young visitors that come. A lot of schools go for field trips and things like that. And it's an amazing place to crawl. And it's in a tight area, but they've got a trail system that you could run, 2 or 3 hours and not touch the same rock, not touch the same trail. And it's all amazing scale trail. So my original thought process was, so about 6 years ago, we got the word, hey, you guys can't be here anymore. So Boston Crawlers, which was a competition crawler group, would hold competitions in this particular park. They weren't allowed to come in. As a general scale, the last large group I had in there was like 35 people. And we were driving all around and having a great time. But somebody had gone in with a nitro car and was zipping up and down the parking lot and making a lot of noise. And there's a huge rock face that's probably 25 feet high. And they were trying to run this nitro car up the side of this rock face, and that created problems. So from that point forward, they're like, no nitro. So my ultimate project would be to, and I was in conversations with the state park ranger that oversaw that particular park and various other parks in the area. and we had a gentleman's agreement, so to speak, to get into that park.
Okay.
Well, he said, October 1st, you can get in there, no problem. It's off season for the park. Traffic is, foot traffic is down, pedestrian traffic is down, so you can get in there from October to like April 1st. So basically the winter months.
Okay.
Sweet, this is awesome, fantastic. I posted it up. I said, hey guys, Valentino's going to let us in October 1st. We can get into play. It just happened to be a Saturday. I'm at work and my phone blows up. So what happens was guys show up, park rangers are telling them to get out. I'm like, no, I'm at work. No. Tell them that Val said that we could be there. Val told us we could be there. They're like, nope, they're kicking us out. Valentino retired in September. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This guy was pulling my chain the whole time. So that was about 6 years ago. The idea for the logo popped into my head. For me, I wanted something that was very simple, very easy to identify, and something that could be used to mark trails that we were allowed to drive on, that we were allowed to wheel on. So that was ultimately, I guess, kind of what drove it was, we can't get in this park. I want to get in that park. I want to create a trail specifically for us, and I want to create a trail marker that could be used to mark that trail.
Okay.
So that was kind of my thought process. And I did some sketches. My daughter was into drawing and doodling, and I asked her, I said, hey, can you draw something? She's like, yeah, I drew something. I was like, okay, that's not quite right. But Mother's Day weekend 2 years ago, some things had changed. I was in a spot where I was like, I need to do something. Something's got to happen. I'm going to put this on paper. I'm going to create this, and I'm going to see what I can do with it. So we put it on paper. We refined it a little bit and ended up with the logo that you see today.
Nice.
I took, I think my first purchase was $100 worth of stickers. I think I bought 50 stickers for $100. And I said to my wife, I bought these stickers. And she's like, oh, that's really nice. And then I says, I'm going to try to sell them on the internet. And she's like, you're going to what? I said, yeah, we're trying to sell them on Facebook. She goes, really? I'm like, yeah. She goes, okay, if that's what you want to do. Like, I don't think she believed me very well. So I got the 50 stickers, and within the first 3 hours, I posted them on my personal Facebook page. I started Adventure RC Trucks. Everybody in New England seems to have their own Facebook page for rock crawling.
Right.
So I've got one, he's got one, everybody else has their own page. I started Adventure RC Trucks because I wanted a page too, but I liked Overland. I liked Dakar Rally. I liked those kinds of trucks. I was one of the first guys in the area to put a camper on something.
Okay.
To build a little styrene, nothing fancy. Some of these guys are amazing. I just glued a couple of pieces of styrene together and called it a camper. Put that on the back of a truck and wheeled it. So I like that. So that's where the Adventure RC Trucks came along, was that I like that kind of truck. And I was trying to focus toward those kinds of trucks. So I posted the stickers for sale on Adventure RC Trucks, my own personal page. I think there were maybe 300 followers of that page. Within 3 hours, I was almost out of stickers.
Nice.
And I said to my wife, I says, I'm going to need to order more stickers. And she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, you've sold that many? I says, uh-huh. And then her eyes got big and she was like, this might work. This might actually turn into something. The first 50 stickers that I sold, I didn't know anybody on that list.
Really?
They weren't friends of mine. They weren't local to New England. They were folks that I don't even know how they found them, to be honest with you. Like, I don't even know how they found the page to buy the sticker. So I did everything through Facebook Messenger. You send me a message, pay me on PayPal, I send you the stickers in the mail. So it was very old school. It was very archaic. It was a logistic nightmare at the time. But the first 50 people that I sold stickers to, I didn't know most of them. There were names that I'd never seen before. Names that,
wow.
When you're in groups, I was probably at the time in like 25 different rock crawling groups. When you're in groups, you get to see people, you get to see names, and you understand that that person's in this hobby, and that person's, at a certain level in the hobby where they have a little more pull or what have you. So you start recognizing names and recognizing people. I didn't recognize the first 50 people that bought, which was, to me, was baffling, but it was humbling all at the same time. Like, I couldn't believe that people were actually interested in what I did. So I got on the phone and I ordered another 150 stickers, and then I got on the phone another couple hours later and ordered more stickers. And wow. Then I started getting questions. Do you make it another color? Do you have it with this? Do you have it with that? How about a different truck? How about a different size? Two guys contacted me within 15 minutes of each other in two different parts of the country and says, do you have one? That's a really cool sticker. Do you have one with a guy in a wheelchair? And the first guy, I was like, no, I don't, but it's something I, would think about. And then 15 minutes later, I got another message from somebody else. That was Kyle Bagley and Josh Rogers got a hold of me. And it was like, do you have one in a wheelchair? And I'm like, no, but give me a couple of hours and I will.
Now, so which Josh Rogers? I got to ask, which Josh Rogers? The Ohio Josh Rogers?
No, I don't think he's in Ohio.
There's two Josh Rogers for everybody that are on the forums. Both are extremely knowledgeable. I'd just like to know which one we're talking about.
I know Josh likes wheels. That's what I know. He's a wheel collector.
I think that's Josh out of Ohio. He hangs out. He goes to K&K and all the time.
That's possible. Yep.
Okay.
Kyle, I think Kyle's out in Colorado.
Okay.
But those two guys asked questions about, and then from there it just exploded. The opportunities came. So it was the trademark paperwork went in with the USPTO. So you got to get that trade. Now that I've sold 50 stickers in 3 hours and I need to order another 150 more, this could go somewhere. So I need to protect this. So,
right.
It's trademarked and taking that to the next step. Okay. Now we're going to put it on a shirt. We're going to get t-shirts made, and trying to keep, so a lot of people, I think, I'm not in the business to print t-shirts. I'm not in the business to print stickers. I came up with the artwork. I hire everything out. I've got a printer in Rhode Island that's probably one of the best printers in the area that prints my t-shirts for me. They're not heat transfers in the basement of, my mom's basement with an ironing board. I don't cut my stickers on a Cricut. They're hired out by an international company that actually prints stickers internationally. I use Sticker Mule to print my stickers. And they've got 9 locations throughout the entire world. And I picked them because of the quality of the sticker. So I think a lot of people think that, I'm just a guy sitting at home with my Cricut making stickers. And unfortunately, that's not the case. So I've got minimum orders. So color combinations are hard to come by. I might have somebody that wants a purple sticker, but can I sell 50 of those purple stickers? I've had one person ask, or if they're looking for a rainbow sticker, I might have one person to ask for a rainbow sticker, but my minimum order is 50. So I am lucky. I got a couple of guys local that'll do some vinyl transfers for me, kind of on demand, which is kind of nice.
Okay.
So it just kind of snowballed from there. I try to have very few things as far as like clothing and stuff in stock in my possession. But that's changing. I've now got probably 150 t-shirts in stock ready to go when somebody, makes an order online. So you had to start a website and you got to get that all squared away. And it's been an amazing ride. I really can't complain.
That's awesome. I mean, and I've been on a situation running a small business. It's no joke. Especially when you're talking about little orders. You've got a lot of overhead that comes in. You're talking shipping, and depending on how you get everything done, man, it can get overwhelming, for a lack of a better term.
Yeah.
So like, what's your strategy to keep cool when things are getting hot in the kitchen? No pun intended, Justin.
Whatever's got to get done needs to get done. So if I'm at work, So RC excitement for me. My job is 63 miles away. It takes me a full hour to get to work at 75 miles an hour. So I travel. I'm in the car 2 hours a day. Easy 2 hours a day.
That's not bad. All right, so coming from a Northern Virginia point of view, where it takes you an hour to go 20 minutes or 20 miles, if that, or maybe up to 5 miles takes you an hour.
Right.
My job is, well, actually, I'm in my job right now in my house, but my regular job is roughly 20 miles away. It takes me 45 minutes to get there. No questions asked. And probably yeah.
I'm 63 miles door to door. And it's 90% of it's on the highway at 75 miles an hour. So it takes me just over an hour to get to work every day. So I've got 2.5 hours in the car, and it's very little traffic because you go in before traffic or right after traffic, and then you come home after traffic. So I don't run into a lot of traffic. It's only one major city that I drive through really to get to work. But I'm 63 miles away from work, so I got a lot of time in the car. I shouldn't, but I do handle some business in the car while I'm in the car driving. So if I need to make phone calls, or if I'm making text messages or what have you, speak to text is my friend. Although my Southern New England accent doesn't always come through that well,
right?
For the speak to text. But if I'm home by 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, something to eat, and then if it takes till midnight to get orders packed and ready to ship out, that's what it takes. That's what you got to do. We started making patches. So Carry All RC and Mike George at Carry All RC.
Yeah.
He and I started talking. That was probably 12 months ago. It was probably October, November last year that we started talking about doing a patch.
I'm working on getting. I got to get the patch. I have the Operation 11 Charlie patch ordered.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It was, what was it? Last Wednesday morning, I sent Javier an email. I'm like, hey, I need me one.
Yeah. Hopefully he's got one for you, because he sent me a message today that says he needs more. So that's the other thing I'm working on, is making patches. So
I ordered mine last week. So
yeah, good.
We might, I don't know. It'll be a happy voice. I mean, as soon as it comes on, boom, I'm gonna throw it on my carry-all bag, hands down. Boom. Because that'll look great with the reefs and the trio and all that other stuff.
Absolutely. So
perfect.
So if it's making patches until midnight, if it's cutting and putting stuff together, I've got Carry All patches here.
Oh yeah.
I've got Carry All patches. I got a buddy of mine in Northeast RCs, Kevin Tessia's got a Northeast RCs patch. Can you see that one?
Oh yeah, those are beautiful.
So I'm making a couple for Kevin. You can't tell anybody about this one, but the other local group is New England RC Junkies. So that's another one that I'm working with.
That's excellent.
Finished product will probably look something more like this.
Yeah, those are excellent, man.
These haven't been trimmed yet, but don't tell anybody about those. Nobody's supposed to know those are happening yet. So whatever it takes. If it's getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning because I've got orders from last night, patches that I have to run glue around them to make sure they don't all fray out on you. Getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning for an hour to address envelopes and stuff them in envelopes to be able to drop them off at the post office.
Are you writing them? Wait, that's right. You write them by hand.
I do most of everything by hand, and it's all done through U.S. mail for the most part. Yep.
Bro, there's an easier way to do this.
I'm sure there is. Sure there is.
It's called Shippo.
Yeah.
Like literally, I mean, especially it would make sense for the larger orders where you're sending it out. You can literally just, go on Amazon, grab up the, you can get them in half sheets and probably quarter sheets where you just print out a couple of labels, boom, 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 and like stick it on and, put it in put it however the rest of your system goes. And here's the best part. It's already prepaid. So boom, you can just drop it off, say, hey, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. This goes out for the day. Where wherever I'm sure you have a magic arrangement with your postmaster.
Marie and I are bestest of friends. Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like every small business owner working into small, they have their postmaster. You guys work together like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's one of the ways I found that it's the easiest, because the things that I was shipping were about the size of your hand, probably an inch thick, maybe an inch and a quarter thick. Appreciate the. Oh, by the way, thank you, Javier. I see my patch is on the way. I'm psyched about that.
And Javier will get his in probably a week.
Speaking of, that means I probably need to actually go on your website. What is your website, by the way?
If you're looking for the website, it's adventure-rc-trucks.ecwid. It's ECWID.com. Okay. The easiest way to get there is to go to the Facebook page, the tagged posts or the sticky posts in the announcements has a link to the Facebook or a link to the website. That's the easiest way to get there.
I just typed it into Google, and it was you have an ad, and it was the first thing that came up right underneath it. So cool, good. Because I'm gonna order me a patch as we're talking. You have to carry all on there, or do I have to go through Mike to grab that?
No.
Yeah, I need to go to Mike.
So, yeah, if you want the carry-all patches will be through Mike. And if you want the 11 Charlie, Operation 11 Charlie is a special colorway. That's a teal background with an OD green image. That is their colorway. I donate them to 11 Charlie, and then they do what they can with them. My hope is that they would take them and get donations for the patches, sell the patches, use the patches for the vets that they take out, and that's what Javier and JB are doing down there. So for me, it's an easy donation for me to give to them, and if they can turn it into something else bigger and better, that's just what we're looking for.
That's what I love. That's what I love to hear. And more importantly, you get to see their mission and them working through and helping out those vets.
Absolutely.
I know that was a week ago. You were on their show the week before I had them on ours.
Yeah.
And I'm still in awe about the amount of work and amount of time and amount of passion that goes in. And Absolutely. What I love seeing, this is really what I love seeing, is how much everything ties in. It's kind of scary where you see, and it doesn't matter if you're a Sorka guy, you're a G6, you're Shred the Ledge, whatever your main thing is. You got all these small brands that really go in to support each other, which in the long run will end up coming back. And it's starting to, interestingly enough, filter back through to help the vets, help those other people in need.
Absolutely.
And you see the community just kind of like it's shifting in a positive way. And I've even seen less trolls on, believe it or not, I've even seen less trolls on the Axial forum. It's hard to believe because that's like a troll fest, but such is life.
Oh yeah. We don't. Go ahead.
Oh, Mike doesn't have him up here. I'm gonna have to just PM him. Actually, there you go. I'm gonna text him. All right, as you're talking, sorry, I'm getting me one of them patches. I need to have patches.
Okay.
Jeremy is, and I've got a bunch of patches over here. Things that I probably shouldn't show on live YouTube. One might have somebody running a dinosaur with something that I can't talk about.
Oh boy!
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's an epic one. I'll once we come off of PM, I'll show it to you. It's hilarious. Yeah. Oh yeah. So looking forward, what is the next year gonna look like in your eyes, in an ideal sense? What does your next year look like for growth? Possible. I know I might be opening a can of worms here.
Go ahead. Open the worms.
I'm gonna open it and we'll see if you can close it, put it back on. Any new products coming out? Any what can we expect as a consumer to see coming from Adventure RC?
So for me, it's really about the logo and the brotherhood around the logo, using that logo. So you talked about trolls a little bit ago. For me, it's not so much about brand A, brand B, brand C. So it's not the Ford, Chevy, Dodge debate. It's not the Axial versus Traxxas versus Element debate. It's about going out and having a good time. So for me, and the logo I think represents that, is that it's really all inclusive of everything. If you take the logo and you kind of dissect it a little bit, the vehicle at first glance kind of looks like a Jeep, but it could also be a Bronco. It's really built as a trail truck. Yes, the rocks are rocks, and you maybe find those rocks in some particular areas, but you might not find them out in, well, you pointed me out to a young man in Utah that had a different set of rocks that were a little smoother, more like Moab. So the rocks could be somewhat generic, but maybe it's not the same rocks that you do. And it's not specifically a comp crawler type of rock, but maybe something that could be, a trail also. So it's a little more generic. If you look at the radio that the guy's holding, it's got a little bit of Spectrum in it. It's got a little bit of Tactic in it, from the old Axial Tactic radio. So it's not a specific brand of radio. I've seen guys take that and work it to where it looks like, oh, that's a Futaba radio, or that's a Fly Sky radio. Like you can look at it and go, that's exactly what that is. Mine's got a little bit of everything in it. And it was kind of by design, but also kind of just by accident. So for me, it's more about the promotion of the hobby. I still get, probably 3 times a week, I get tagged in a picture that somebody sees my logo in the back of somebody's full-size car as they're driving down the highway to work. And it's like, hey, look what I saw. This is cool. When I see pictures of events of guys standing in the parking lot and my logo's on a sticker in the back of their full-size car, or I see pictures at a G6 or pictures at a USTE or pictures from or watching YouTube videos. So we have a 50-inch screen TV at work that we put crawler videos on. It's on right above our crawler wall. So we put crawler videos up there.
That's awesome.
So we're constantly on YouTube watching crawler videos all day long. And every once in a while, I'll catch one of my stickers, my scale stickers, on the back of somebody's truck driving on YouTube. And I'm like, that's my sticker. Look at that. That's cool. So for me, it's more about promoting the hobby. And when you pull into a parking lot, and you see other people with that sticker, that logo on it, it's just like, okay, my brothers are here, my sisters are here, our family's here. I got to find them so we can crawl together and have a good time. So it's really just about pulling everybody together and staying away from the brand separations. Ford, Chevy, Dodge, I don't care. I just want you to go out and go play. I just want you to go out and crawl. I just want you to go out and trail in the woods and have a good time. So for me, it's more about getting the image out. So you asked about new product coming out. I can see color combinations change. I can see we've got a ponytail sticker now. It's for the ladies.
I saw that. So, by the way, my daughter promptly stole that pink sticker off that sheet. Like I didn't have it.
Peter's daughters did the same thing.
She's like, you want to talk about sticky fingers? Whoop, gone. Yeah. I like this, Daddy. Bye.
Yep. Yeah. Peter's daughters did the same thing.
I know. I know.
They're very popular. I'm waiting a reorder right now, so I'll have them again soon. But,
Peter's daughter didn't just do the same thing. She flashed that. It was beautiful. I love it.
It was awesome. Yeah.
She sticker bombed. It's like that's the thing to do for that kid's age. Yeah. You always have to have one body that's sticker bomb, though. That's like it's a thing.
So I have been asked probably, I don't know, it was probably more than a year ago. Hey, do you make one that's a girl? And I'm like, no, but it's something I could. And then it just became, a little more frequent that I was asked the question. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to put a ponytail in one. So I put a ponytail in one and boom, there we go. I've had people ask for a fat guy because all of us crawlers aren't skinny like the drawing that I made. We're fat. I'm a fat guy too, you know? So I don't know if that's going to happen. You know, I get people ask for a baseball hat on the logo, but I also get guys asking for, you know, a baseball hat to wear, a winter beanie to wear. And
Yes.
while I love that idea, there's so many different options out there. I personally like a flex fit hat. Some people hate flex fit hats. I like, you know, a trucker hat. So I got, you know, an axial hat that's got a mesh back on it, but it's Velcro.
Right.
You know, that's a cool ass hat, except for that. But that's what it is, you know. So to put that on. So there's so many different variables. There's so many different options out there. Minimum orders is always an issue. So I have to order a minimum. It's a 24 orders. So you got to order 24 hats. If I've got that style hat and that color combination and only 3 people want to buy, I'm stuck with 22 hats, you know? And so now what do I do with those hats? So I'm still working on that. T-shirts are easy. You know, it's a T-shirt. Hoodies are easy. It's a hoodie. One thing I did with Jan Zotti's from Zotti's Bags was a tire cover. You know, I reached out to her. She and I reached out together. And pardon me while I take this dirty ass truck around here.
Hey, it's okay.
I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's been used and abused. This truck, it's been on here for probably a year or more. But she does a tire cover for me. It's on my website. I sell it. Send her the information. She mails it straight to the customer. It's amazing. And just recently, she sent me a tiny tent, which is awesome. So I got a tiny little tent now, little easy up tent. These will probably be going on a website in the near future as well.
That's cool.
But I've got keychains are now on the website. Giuseppe from RC Crawler It.
Italy, yeah. I know who you're talking
makes
about.
A badge. Yeah, Giuseppe in Italy. He makes a little badge, and he and I worked out, you know, so he made me a couple of little badges, which are amazing.
Oh, those are cool.
Right? These are incredibly expensive. These are mine. I don't know if I'll even give these up. But that's something that could, at some point in time, make its way to the website where, you know, if somebody's interested in paying what they're not cheap. But they are amazing. If you're looking for emblems, he's the guy that I would definitely go to Giuseppe.
Those were metal too. You can hear it.
Yep. They're metal and they got a little sticky back on them and they're perfect size. I don't have anything on this Defender, but they're on my other Jeep, the Jeep that's at the shop. Jay Wallace, I got this one. Jay Wallace from JEC Racing.
Yep.
Made this leather patch here for me. So that's something that we might see going forward in the near future too, is to have a couple of different options as far as patches go. But I don't know, it's tough. I would like to brand everything. I would like to have a full-size tire cover to put on that Jeep that you've got a full-size tire on that you need a cover for a full-size truck. That would be awesome for me. You know, I've had at least one person carve the logo in a pumpkin. I thought that was really cool. That happened last Halloween. That was last year. That was pretty awesome. And then I've had at least one person actually tattoo it on their body, which was really, really cool. And I've got another person that asked last week if he could do it too. And I was like, if you want to tattoo it, that's awesome. I'm flattered. That's not something I can sell to you, but yeah, if that's something you wanted to do, I thought maybe I'd be the first one. I didn't know if anybody would, you know, I could see putting a Nike swoosh or Under Armour guy on your body somewhere, but I don't know. I'm kind of humbled by the fact that they want to take my artwork and tattoo it on their skin, which is cool. But
that's awesome.
If Desmond's listening, I want to go down and see Des sometime and have him put one on me. So hopefully we'll figure that out sometime.
I'd love to say that, dude. He's got some crazy artwork. And throwing it out there, Javier is also saying he's low on patches as well.
Yep, he sent me a message this week.
Yeah. And Captain Paul is wondering where you can get one of those Operation 11 Charlie patches that you so kindly sent down to them. I believe those websites 11charlie.com. I'm looking to check. Javier, if you want to take a second and if you're still on with us, if you want to go ahead and pimp out your site so we can get some donations, because I mean it's coming from the man I'm interviewing that's benefiting our vets. So it comes for full circle, and that's beautiful, man. If you
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's even, I'm loving it. So looking forward, you got comps, you got all this going on, man. When do you get time to build a truck for yourself?
Very little time.
Right? I saw. So what's what kind of shenanigans? Because you're the scale guy, right? You're the scaler type dude.
I'm a little more of a scale guy, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not by any means. I have my two most scaled trucks behind me. Actually, three if you want to count the Ram. And then I have like a class 3 rear steer shenanigans as well over the I can't even know there. But it is what it is. So tell me, what's your next build, or what's your current build that you're making and tweaking to be just right?
So I'm not necessarily a guy that spends a lot of money on RC cars. So I guess working at a hobby shop is beneficial to me because there are some perks, which is really, really nice. But I still have an SEX 10-1 that I purchased used from a guy that was my first 10 scale truck. I still have one of those. There were 3 others that came along that have since gone back home with the kids. But a TRX 4 Sport I purchased 2.5 years ago, and I took it and made the Defender out of it.
Okay.
So I kept it. Yeah. So I kept it kind of scale.
That's what I did with that one. It actually, it's funny you say that. My buddy over Brad Brick and Fixate held when the sports first came out. Like this is first, 2 weeks after first delivery. That was one of the first ones in Northern Virginia, period. And that is the original frame, not the links, because I had to extend the links, and they were bent, man. I earned apparently I earned a reputation. I don't know. But that's my original frame. Some of the pieces inside the plastic are also original too. Not much, but there's a few. That's probably also most stock truck that I own. Yeah.
I ran that TRX. That TRX 4 Sport had a Savox servo, and I pretty much I added the inner fender wells, and of course power shift lights. And so I scaled it all out to run, but that truck, you pulled the trigger and it just went. That truck just went wherever it needed to go.
I know.
And I ran that truck for 2.5 years. I'm not a maintenance guy. I don't like fixing stuff. I don't like working on stuff. I charge a battery, I stick it in, and I go drive it. I come home, I charge the battery, I stick it back in the car, and I go drive it. I don't need anything. I don't want to. I don't feel the need to tune this and tune that and work on this and work on that. I just want to drive is all I want to do. I want that 4 or 5 hour escape in the woods. But before we went to Pennsylvania, so I was lucky enough to win a set of Trial axles in Pennsylvania at the G6.
Oh, nice.
Before I even had the 10.3 SEX 10.3, I won a set of axles for it. So when I came home, and I was showing the boss, I was like, hey, look at these new axles. These are pretty awesome. He goes, they're for a 10.3. And I'm like, yeah. He goes, so I guess I need to order you one, don't I? And I'm like, yeah, I would like to sometime have one, but I'm not ready right now. Well, it showed up the following week with my name all over it. It says, hey, here you go. Here's your truck. I guess it took maybe a week to build, a little bit here, a little bit there. Again, up till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, putting little pieces together. The first thing I did when I opened that kit was look at, and the first thing you have you build is the shocks of that truck. And they've got these tiny little E-clips, and I'm 50 years old. I can't see those stupid things. So I'm like, E-clips, I don't want to deal with that. So I put the shocks off to the side. went right into the transmission. I'm like, crap, there's E-clips in here too. But I had that transmission apart 4 times one night putting that stupid thing together. But it was a kit, and I didn't really, again, working in the hobby allows me to exercise some perks that I have, which are really cool. So we've got a Hobby Wing Fusion 1800 kV in there. I've got a Savox 1212 servo in there.
Okay.
Power shift lights. I run on 3-cell. Let's see what else is in there. The Terreal axles, which are amazing. The fit and finish on those axles are awesome. Everything else pretty much stock. The transmission, when you put it together for the kit, it gives you an option. One of the last sets of gears you put into the transmission is a 1-to-1 gear set. In the instruction book, it says if you're running portals, put the 1-to-1s on. If you're running straight axles, which now have finally come out, run the 1.7-to-1 gear set, because you're losing that reduction at the portal.
Right.
So you need to reduce it in the transmission. Well, I figured I'd be a wise guy and put the 1.7-to-1 gears in the transmission along with the portals. So everybody wants to overdrive everything and make everything spin faster. I decided to make everything spin slower. So I didn't take advantage of the dig. I didn't take advantage of the 2-speed. So it's locked in low gear, full-time 4-wheel drive. And on 3-cell, that car tops out at 3.5 miles an hour. So it's super scale. I can actually take the trim on the radio and bump up the trim until the motor starts to move the tires. And all I have to do is steer the steering wheel. That truck will just continue to move along at whatever speed is set for. And all I have to do is tell it which way to go.
So you're cheating. You're using
amazing.
flow mode like you would on the Rubicons and the Forerunners. You're cheating.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And then, I mean, have you actually had a chance to drive the newer Jeeps, like the JLUs? And just FYI, they have 8-speed transmissions, and they are no slouches. I got an opportunity to drive one going to Super Shafty because every year, for whatever reason, right around that time, my truck decides to have an issue. It's like a guarantee. Like this year, I had the wife, kid, and dog, and it was like my dash lit up like a Christmas tree. Oh, by the way, there was like only 6,000 miles on it at the time. So I was a little like, what? So I dropped them off, took it to the dealer, which is a mile away, and they gave me a JLU.
Oh, so nice.
I told them, I'm like, I'm taking it on a road trip. She's like, where are you going? I'm like, I told her whisk. She's like, I didn't hear that. Bye. So shout out to my representative, and I appreciate every second of it. So yeah. Look, on a serious note though, they have a lot of power. And with that 8-speed, they can get that down low grunt that you're talking about. And I'm interested. I need to see some video of that truck working. We all have our preferred setups, but I'm kind of, I don't know, should I do it? Well, after I do my super secret squirrel, not very secret squirrel because my namesake is what it is, build, I think I might do something like an actual scale build. I don't know if it's going to be a leafer or not, but I like the concept that you're bringing out with the, that super, you want to watch everything work. You can literally, you don't have to put it in slow-mo because real life is slow-mo.
Oh, it is super, super slow. And that's the way I prefer to crawl. I prefer to crawl relatively slow. So even on a trail, and around here we're lucky that this rock and trail are all really kind of close to each other. So you don't have to go very far on a trail. So you're not walking like a mile in the woods on just a dirt road to get to the good stuff. But yeah, this truck drives really, really slow. I'm very pleased with it. I've always gotten to the point where on all of my trucks so far, I've done something, or I've customized it to a point where, okay, I need to test it to see how it works. So I take it out in the woods and I give it a run, or I take it to the park and I give it a run on the rocks. And it's so much damn fun to drive. I never finish it. So I have a Jeep body, a hard body from New Bright that didn't have a roof on it. So I built a camper for the back of it. It was a red body with a white camper on the back.
That's
and it
so
was just a
1980s.
plain, yeah, it was just a plain box, really, with a couple of windows in it to make it look like it had windows in it. And I just finished it off the back of this Jeep. So the thought process was to paint it and make it all look nicey nice. And I put it on the truck to go test it to see how it worked. It was so much fun to drive, I never finished it. I've got other campers that I've done that for. The 10.3 that I have now, I haven't put the interior in yet. I haven't put the cage together yet. It's still sitting in the box in pieces because this truck is so fun to drive that I don't want to work on it. I just want to drive it. It's what I want to do. So I like the scale aspect of it, but I never really complete the scale look because it's just too much fun to drive. For me, it's just too much fun to drive, and I get distracted like a squirrel.
I totally understand. I have a build kind of over there that I had to pirate it because of an issue at Motorama. My
MJ, I'm gonna lose you. My battery's dying.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
all right,
my
so
God. I'm even plugged in.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm even plugged in. I think I just lost my screen. I don't know when I'm gonna lose you audibly.
You did. All right. Well, apparently we got to leave. We're gonna leave out a little further. But here's the awesome part, guys. Coming up here next week, you see a bunch of guys over here on Operation 11 Charlie. Who knows? They might come join us again. We might have a few other, or should we say, returning specialists coming back on. I don't know if Eric will be able to have some time. Maybe a little bit of here and there. We might even see if we can bring back some OGs from season 1, guys. So don't be surprised. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to say a quick thank you. Eric, I know our conversation is a bit of abrupt ending because of battery life, and that happens. But, man, it was a great time, and I appreciate every second of our chat, and I look forward to the future, see where we're going to go with that. And I guess from here, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you check out Trill Hobby. We got Reef. Of course, we have a record RC rep behind me. And in a hot second, appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Javier. We got In the Works. We also have Reef RC, SRDLV, and I think I know I'm missing someone somewhere. But without saying, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you. Northwest Scalar Designs. That's who I was missing. Thank you, guys. Have a great evening. Make sure you slam that like button. Make sure you turn on your notifications. Hit subscribe. We're working on a few things. I really look forward to seeing what this next week's going to be. I got a few plans. And so, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us, and hope you guys have a great night. Sleep tight. Make sure you hit up some of those JB sandwiches. Stay safe. Absolutely. Social distance. That means tiny truck on.